musically attracted to albums with prominent use of circles on the record. Hi everyone, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit here with Rhyme Signatures, the nerdiest music review this side of being the infinitely superior choice to Uncle Walt's alliterative rodent, but only about 1% is recognised. And today we're going to be doing a review of the new Sleep Makes Waves album. It's here, but I have no names for it. Once again, I am under attack. I am under assault by the devious forces of circle-centric album art, and I am once again having to defend my position that I have absolutely zero bias towards albums where the orb takes centre stage of the cover art. Okay, fine, maybe I do have a slight teensy bit of a bias, but let's be honest, my preferences aside, this new record from Australia's Sleep Makes Waves really does have an altogether rather lovely, attention-grabbing cover, even if you don't have the same proclivities towards circular album art that I do. And if we remove my biases, put them off over here into a little jar with an airtight seal, and approach this new record with the untainted mind of someone who isn't so easily influenced, then It's Here But I Have No Names For It is still a triumph of experimental post-rock, one of the best albums to come from the band, and easily their best offering since the incredible 2014 album of Love of Cartography. Straight out of Sydney, Australia, the band currently consists of Alex Wilson on bass and keyboards, Otto Wicks-Green on guitars, and Tim Adderley on drums. Their music fits into the niche of post-rock, so that kind of, explosions in the sky, God as an Astronaut, mono, Russian circles, etc, etc. And they've been knocking around since 2006, with It's Here But I Have No Names For It forming their fourth full-length studio album. Now, I jumped on board Sleep Makes Waves with their sophomore album of Love of Cartography, and I still maintain that it is one of the best examples of modern contemporary post-rock, really scratching that itch that I have for this kind of music, unlike anything else. It was big, expansive, creative, and engaging in a way that other bands simply weren't managing for me. This is their first full-length LP since 2017's Made of Breath Only, and I'll be honest, I was slightly disappointed with that one, but that really is more indicative of the quality of what came before it, rather than any slight against its impact as a record unto itself. But it did mean I was approaching this new one with more cautious optimism than rampant enthusiasm. So what's good about this one? Now, there's quite a lot on this album that really stood out for me, and I feel confident in saying that this could easily be the band's best, most adventurous and creative outlet yet. Post-rock is often unfairly tarnished as having a singular sound, lacking any kind of distinction or variation across a band's discography, and some might even argue in a genre as a whole. It crutches on the expected, the familiar, and what people have built up in their heads about what it's going to sound like. And at times, this is absolutely fine, like returning to a favourite restaurant and ordering the same 5 things off the menu that you know you like. Post-rock is quite comforting in that regard, but from my experiences it rarely tries anything genuinely new. It's Here But I Have No Names For It dares to be a little bit different, managing to showcase a smorgasbord of interesting approaches, creative arrangements, and moods that manage to keep you guessing over the record's 40-minute runtime, while simultaneously staying respectful to what fans of this kind of music would come to expect from it. The opening track of All Hail Skull encapsulates this perfectly, with a growing introduction that explodes into some absolutely thrilling drums, skyscraping guitar leads, and brilliantly paced keyboards before segueing into a kind of Sunglasses at Night 1980s thriller vibe. It's a fantastic, explosive start to the album and manages to set the pace perfectly for what you can expect going forwards. It's how well Sleep Makes Waves managed to keep this energy going, though, that impresses me the most. Super Realm Park and Ritual Control feel like your typical rockers, forming what could be described as the most standard tracks on the album, but they still have a brilliant, almost thrilling enthusiasm to them, keeping the absolutely enormous drums of Tim Adderley as their through line and having some deeply memorable guitar and bass lines on top of it all. The album picks up a lot though from Black Paradise, reminding you that this album is not just a typical post-rock record, showcasing much more dynamic, interesting and adventurous instrumentation than what we've been shown up until this point. Delicate acoustics lead you in, before those unbelievable drums hit you square in the jaw again, and then the rousing orchestrations fire up, and the song really does send you on a complete jaw-dropping adventure. It's epic, it's bombastic, and it is easily the best song on the album for me. The interstitial track of Verdigris is another favourite, showing off the band's abilities to play with atmospherics and a creation of this Blade Runner-esque vibe as they push forward with their use of experimental electronica to create a super memorable track and a necessary palette cleanser, perfectly positioned in the track listing. Honestly, I'm just super impressed with what the band have done here. Playing with the expected formula of the genre, but managing to strike outside of the usual limitations caused by it to create something that's really adventurous, but comfortingly familiar at the same time. Not all their experiments land though, I'll be honest with you. Now, it feels weird for me especially to be saying this, given that I am an extremely vocally driven person when it comes to music, but I really don't much care for the insertion of vocals into the later tracks of Terra Future and the title track. Now, it's not that these vocal segments are bad, or that the singing is subpar or anything like that. It just feels, I don't know, weirdly placed and at odds with the powerful instrumentation that's done a perfectly good job of carrying the album thus far. It's fine, I guess, but it's just that, it's only fine. And I don't personally feel that these sections add enough to the music surrounding them to justify their inclusion. They are at least reasonably brief, but in this instance I don't think the addition of vocals is well suited to the otherwise instrumental nature of the album. I also feel that, I don't know, for me, the album is a little short. I know I'm basically impossible to please when it comes to album length, as I'm forever griping that albums are too long. Wah. I know. But for me, 40 minutes of this music just feels like the album's about to hit another stride, a late second wind. I feel like one more 10-minute long banger on the end would have been the icing on what is otherwise a still remarkably sweet cake. Minor complaints overall though, and certainly nothing that diminishes or takes away from the otherwise incredible time I've been having with this album. So, what else can I say about Sleep Makes Waves? It's here, but I have no names for it. Post-rock is another one of those genres that lies slightly outside of my daily listening habits, but when it's right, when I'm in the mood for it, frankly, nothing else will do to satisfy my musical cravings. And frankly, this record is one of the most Moorish and entertaining examples of the genre I've heard in quite a long time. Now, it's been quite a while since their last LP, and the EPs they put out in 2020 just didn't quite do it for me. So like I said earlier, I approached this new release with caution, not certain if what was going to be found within would be enough to slake my thirst. But I was delighted with the end product though, outside of a couple of very minor complaints that really may not be an issue at all for most people. The all-conquering power of circular album art dictates that I have to get a physical copy of this one, and I would of course extend that recommendation to all of you as well. Embrace this one. It's big, powerful, epic and overwhelming in the best ways, and certain to be one of the most talked about post-rock albums of the year. This is all, of course, guys, just my opinions, so if you've loved or hated this one, please talk to me about your experiences with the album in the comments below. Please do drop me a thumbs up if you liked the video, please do tell your friends about me, and please do throw me a subscription if you've been enjoying my content. But until next time, guys, as always, keep your rhyme signatures pretty odd.